Ferguson and I'm an environmental artist, and I'm creating a video series in collaboration with Marketplace which are called Art in the Fens. Each week there's going to be a different video and it focuses on a different art activity I'm going to guide you through for you to create responses to the Fenland landscape. And in each video I'm going to be talking about different aspects of the Fens which I love and inform the work that I do. So this week we are going to be looking a little bit more at plant species and creating a response to those. And we are going to be trying a type of printmaking that's called anthotype printmaking, and what that does is that's about using different sort of plant pigments to create a print that's made by kind of the sun bleaching. So this week I went for a walk and I went out from Wisbeach, walked across the fields and walked out to sort of Guyherne, and I was really thinking about what could we do that could take inspiration from the Fens this week, and I really wanted to look at, like I say, in particular at the plant species. The Fens itself is made up of lots of kind of, reed beds, of, marshes and riverbanks. And there's actually quite a rich ecology to this area and numerous species. And I was kind of looking at what the markers of the different borders and hedgerows on my walk. And I was thinking this is obviously a really agricultural, heavy region, but there's also a lot of sort of pockets of nature kind of popping through. And so I wanted to use that, like I say, as an inspiration. So I collected some different plant snippings, which we're going to be using today. So I really encourage you, first of all, to also go for a walk on the Fens to collect some different plant species that catch your eye. And next up, I'm going to guide you through doing an anthotype print with those snippings. So anthotype printing is basically a kind of type of printmaking that is sun bleaching using colourful pigments on paper. Now normally you could use like a photographic coated paper, but if not you can kind of use any watercolour paper you've got at home. And it was invented in the 19th century by Sir John Herschel, and it's a way of kind of using natural pigments and the sun to create a really effective type of printmaking. So I've collected some different plant species from my walk, and all you're going to need is, as well as your paper, and you're also going to need your I've got a glass clip frame as well. And then next up I'm going to show you how to make the pigments. Okay, so making pigments, there's loads of different things you can use. Here I've got some turmeric we're going to use, but I've also made up some pigments using spinach as well. You can use ground petals, raspberries, strawberries, anything with a sort of good pigment, sort of bright colour to it. Now, normally when you're making these up, I'm just going to mix them with water, but you can also experiment mixing with alcohol, like a vodka or an alcohol that you buy from a pharmacist, or you can also experiment using white vinegar as well. And what that's going to do is the different solutions will create different types of pigment for you to try. So what I've got here is some turmeric, and I've put it in a bit of muslin cloth just to kind of filter. You can use a colander if you don't have this, or you can also use an old pair of tights as well. And really what it's about is just pouring a little bit of kind of water at a time through the cloth with the turmeric and just kind of filtering it through, sort of mixing it up, just to try and get the solution to pass through the cloth. As you can see on the other side, we start to have a mix here, and really as the thicker, the darker the solution, the more opaque it is, the better it's going to be at creating that print. Okay, so you only want to really use a little bit of water, because the more water it is, the lighter the print will be. Like I say, alternatively, the spinach that I've used here, this one actually had a mixture of white vinegar in it, and what I did is I put the spinach into a blender and then whisked it up, and then again kind of sieved it through a colander. Okay, so next step, we are going to paint our paper with the pigment. So I've put my bits of paper on some kitchen towel because turmeric can stain, and so just with a paintbrush, getting a little bit of pigment and just beginning to coat the paper. And I'm trying to do it nice and evenly to build up an even colour across the paper. And once you're done, what you can do is use a hairdryer on a low setting to apply some heat to dry the paper, or alternatively you could leave it in a dark area for a few hours until it's completely dry and ready to use. Okay, so lastly we are going to create our arrangement. So I'm getting the different plant species that I collected from my walk and creating a little composition with them on the paper. Some flowers in there as well. Okay, and once I'm happy with my composition, I am then going to lay my frame on top of it. I think I'm going to put the glass this way, gently pick it up and put the frame around it. Okay, and turn it over. And then I'm going to make sure it's all clipped in nice and secure. And what this is going to do is it's going to hold it in place while it's out in the sun. There we go. And then next up, I'm going to take it out to the garden and I'm going to leave it in direct sunlight. You could do this for a few hours and come back and check on it, or you could leave it between 1 and 3 days for a much more defined print. Great, well I hope you've enjoyed learning how to make anthotype prints, and I would really love to see the prints that you do at home and perhaps some pictures of your walks as well. So what we're doing is we've created the hashtag art in the Fens, so if you'd like to share the things that you get up to, we'd love to check it out. Okay, well I look forward to seeing what you get up to, and I'll see you next week for our last video in our instalment. Thanks.